Hello. So there were a lot of people who responded with really positive comments on my last video, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys all so much for the support. And yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about what over the board tournaments were actually kind of like and how it differs from um online chess because even though I said I quit over the board chess, it's more like taking an undefined break. I think that there's a lot of really educational and fun and just all sorts of awesome things about over the board tournaments. And I'd probably just like talk a little bit about my own experiences and the differences in terms of the chess itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and thank you for tuning in. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I played a lot of youth tournaments, and I think a lot of people who watch my content or are playing tournaments are kind of newer to games, and I mean newer to chess, and maybe are a little bit older. So youth tournaments are definitely different from open tournaments, which is probably what you would be playing if you were going to play an over the board tournament whenever this pandemic is over. So, youth tournaments for me were primarily with other kids, like usually around your age. So, for example, they were like under 8, under 10, under 12, these kind of events. And there would be like obviously a lot of kids, right? And their parents would be there, and it was a bit of an you go there, you play chess during the day, and you also make friends later. Maybe you get to know all these people, and sometimes if you make it to like worlds and stuff, you have friends from all over the world, so that is really cool. Now, of course, when it comes to open tournaments, they don't really divide people up by age groups. They usually divide people up by rating. So if you have a FIDE rating, so this is the official over the board rating that you don't really see on chess.com or live chess. Um, Over the board ratings are considered official. You need over the board rating in order to get titles like Women Grandmaster, which is what I have. You need over the board ratings to get Grandmaster titles, International Masters, FIDE Master, all of these stuff is given out by FIDE, and these are awarded through over the board tournaments. Now, I don't really know what the state of chess is going to look like after the pandemic. I don't know if there will be online tournaments that can also offer this. That is completely, I have no clue. But I've had a lot of people ask. I just wanted to point out that I have no idea whatsoever. I would be really happy with either. I can see pros and cons to that. And it's just something that, as chess progresses and gets more popular, I'm really excited to see what changes are going to happen to chess in the future. So I have absolutely no complaints whatsoever to anything, honestly. I just want to see the game grow and more people enjoy playing the game. But yeah, so that's pretty much what FIDE ratings are. It's this official over the board rating system. And in over the board tournaments, there's usually like one open section, which is for, it depends on the tournament, of course. They're usually like a top level section, so like maybe 2200s and above, and then there's like 2200s below, and then like under 1600 and maybe under 1500. Anyways, tournaments have a lot of different formats. The point is, usually there are different rating groups, and they give out prizes for different rating groups as well. So like these are cash prizes or whatever prizes, book prizes, stuff like that. So there are actually some tournaments in which everybody plays in one big section. I think one of these in particular is the Reykjavik Open. I think is very notable for doing this. I do believe the one year I played in there when I was 15 in 2015, everybody played in one big section. So on your first round, you had the possibility of playing against a grandmaster or something, right? If you were like, this is divided in Swiss, so basically what they do is they take the top half and then they take the bottom half and they literally just pair it up like a Swiss event. So you can go, I can like talk endlessly about the format of tournaments and all that stuff, but the main idea is that Swiss tournaments, you usually play against people of the same number of points as you have. So like people who have 2 points play against people who have 2 points and stuff like that. So that's usually how over the board tournament works. Now, of course, we have that in online tournaments too, right? We have Swiss tournaments on chess.com, for example. We have the Title Tuesday. And for those people who have not played any Title Tuesday, or I mean, most likely all title players have played over the board, right? So it's very unlikely that, you know, somebody with a title would be watching this video and be like, yes, I didn't know about this. But anyways, my point is that if you've watched Title Tuesday, you might be familiar with the system of how tournaments work and over the board. It's just a much more condensed and shorter format when it is online. So a lot of the top level tournaments you see, like Tata Steel, some of the other like Air Masters tournaments, those kind of things, those are more invitational, and players like me or like, you know, kind of average chess player don't really play in those kind of events because there's not that many invitationals for people who are not like in the top 10 of the world. So yeah, those tournaments, I have played in one in my life. I played one in Finland. It was really, really fun, but it's also like pretty stressful because you already know who you're gonna play, so you gotta like start preparing way beforehand. Anyways, there's a lot of different chess tournament formats. But the one that does not exist in person is the arena chess tournament format. So we've probably played an arena chess tournament on chess.com. We've had Arena Kings recently on Mondays and Fridays on chess.com. That is not in person, mostly because the pairing would be like way too difficult, right? Like people are finishing games at different times and suddenly you just get another opponent. That doesn't really happen in real life. In over the board tournaments, we usually only play Swiss tournament. So yeah, that's a little bit about the tournament structures of over the board. And in terms of the chess gameplay, which is probably more interesting because a lot of people have asked me like, so does playing over the board, like, is that like different? Is it harder? Is it easier? I don't really want to say that it's harder or easier. I don't think that's like an accurate way to describe two things that are quite different because I never play slow games online, right? So I can definitely say that it's just very, very different. I mean, I definitely think that, you know, playing slow games is better for developing your chess. Now, obviously, not everybody has like that much time to spend on improving their chess gameplay, which makes sense, right? Like we all have lives, jobs, school, family, everything, right? So, in terms of that, I think the online structure for tournaments is probably more suitable for beginners because it's just more time friendly. But if you're gonna play an over the board game, if you're gonna play an overboard tournament, get ready to sit there for 4 hours a day for pretty much a week. Sometimes you play 2 games a day, so that's like 8 hours a day potentially playing chess. My games always lasted pretty long. I always use like most of my time. Um, if you're playing in Europe, a lot of the tournaments last 2 weeks actually because it's 1 game per day. It really, really depends on the tournament structure. But basically, the point is get ready for much longer events and get ready to be to both feel really, really happy after winning a very nice, beautifully played game where you thought out like everything and used your brain, and but also get ready for potentially really short games where you just blunder out of the opening, and instead of playing a 4 hour game, you play a 30-minute game. Everybody else is still playing, and all of a sudden you have like the rest of the day off because you just inted. It just happens. Chess is just one of those kind of games where if you make a mistake and your opponent just catches it, it can be over really fast. So that's like a pretty interesting aspect, I think, of in-person tournaments that is maybe like psychologically a little bit confusing because yeah, you know, it can be a little bit demoralizing to realize that, hey, now you have the whole day to do absolutely nothing because you lost. But on the other hand, if you like win in 30 minutes, then you're in a good mood. You can go sightseeing, you can have fun with, you know, friends, whatever, go out and eat. It could be really fun. So there's definitely ups and downs of over the board tournaments, but I highly, highly recommend everybody to just play at least one over the board tournament whenever this pandemic is over. It's really, really exciting because you get to meet a lot of new people. You know, you might make new friends from around the world. You might really learn a lot about the game as well when you're able to just sit there for a few hours and just really think about the game. You don't realize how much stuff actually goes on in the game. And a lot of this stuff you just can't think about when you're playing a 3-minute game or a 10-minute game or even like a 15-minute game. You just don't think about these things. So it's really, really insightful to play over the board chess. The other thing I wanted to bring up in this video is that 3D chess versus 2D chess is a little bit different. The rules are obviously the same, but it's just the way that our mind kind of processes the game, I think, is a little bit different. When I was younger, my coach would always kind of not discourage me to play online, but he would always emphasize that playing in person, playing 3D, is a lot better for reinforcing like strategies and patterns and recognition. I think it's just because the at least for me back then when online chess wasn't as popular, it was a more solid way of having everything kind of cemented in my mind. So even nowadays, if I'm thinking about a board or thinking about a position, even though I am playing online, I see the board in a 3D manner. So that's something that is just maybe particular to me. I haven't really talked to other chess players about it, but that's something that might trip you up a little bit if you play an over the board tournament, especially if you've never touched an over the board. Something I really recommend people to do is always to buy a chess set if you've been playing online chess and play over positions at home, or maybe with your friends or family or your pet, whatever. Play over positions. You can play games with them too, and just kind of get used to moving a piece over the board and having your brain kind of put together the 2D pieces and the 3D pieces, because I think it does take a tiny bit of getting used to. But otherwise, I really do hope that the pandemic is over really soon. I hope everybody does stay safe as well. And I hope to potentially maybe even see some people at over the board tournaments when this whole thing is over. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, if you want me to answer anything additional, feel free to leave it in the comments. And I am very, very grateful for you watching this video. So leave a like and subscribe. Thank you.